Good morning, Polynikes here, and today I've got a tournament report to share with you. It's my second tournament of the season. The tournament was strangely called First Infinity ITS, and it was held by Every Little War. Grab my pen here. And here you can see our lineup. However, we're playing in the opposite order. So Power Pack is the first mission, then Frostbite, and then Firefight. First thing we have are my lists. This list, which I called Power Play, was intended to be my list for Power Pack. I'll give you a couple things about it, and then I'll skip it because I ended up not using it. I have a Shronted with the MSV3 and his plasma rifle. I really like this model because the plasma rifle is really deadly on the Shronted. As long as you can get in there and cover him with something, he performs very well. So we have two Ulaties to run with him. They're like his bodyguards because he doesn't want to be in close combat and he likes smoke everywhere. So with two Ulaties throwing smoke, he'll do great. We have the Zuriat to get objectives, got a bunch of drones. Very importantly, the E-drone, as I'm sure you all know by now. I love the E-drone and everything that it brings. And Group 2 down here is our ARO package, which I like for Power Pack because of the saturation zone. Normally I'm not the biggest ARO piece player, but when you've got the saturation zone, making everything back at you one less die, that makes your snipers and missile launcher in this case a lot better. The Q-drone, it was one of the reasons I didn't use this list is the Q-drone doesn't have enough orders. I do like to offensively run him a lot. So on to my next list, which you may recognize as a list that I play or have been playing recently, at least something similar to this. The first group is all about the Speculo and the Q-drone. They sort of trade up all the orders to get some damage done in the first turn. The second group, the Shrouded down here, the Shrouded will be getting most of the orders to get an objective in the first turn or two, or spotlight something so that the T-drone can then shoot it. The biggest change in this list since last time I ran it is the addition of the Krakot Renegade. I had a Preta in here before, and I had a Dotterati in here before, and none of them were quite doing what I want them to do. So now I have got the Krakot in there, and we'll see how that works out in these missions. All right, moving into Game 1, which is Power Pack. Power Pack here is has the weird deployment zones, has the saturation zone, so there's a lot going on in this mission, and it's pretty exciting. The objectives you can see here, controlling the consoles, which is just getting a guy to stand on it at the end of the game. It's actually pretty difficult though, because especially if you're going first. This is my first opponent, 3 bonds. He is playing NCA. Here you can see his army. This note down here is C-back. The back of his army is just this Garuda on the other side over here. So you can take a look at his army. I was expecting a lot more like TO stuff from these guys. Obviously a Swiss Guard or 2, but as the game progressed, the only TO he had was his Killer Hacker, and then the Garuda came on later, which you'll see. All right. So here's the board. This is the side that my opponent ends up deploying on. I'll give you a look at what I there, and then we'll flip it around. Oh, remember that in Power Pack we have the weird deployments. So his deployment zone kind of goes up to here, like that, and up to here, a little bit farther, like to here, and like that. And the deployment zone on this side is, like you'll see it. We'll switch over. Okay, so here's the other side. The deployment here goes out to about here and over like that, and then on this side to about here, and actually down like that. I remember that yellow line. Actually, this side of it was the edge of the deployment, like right there. There's a big sniper tower up here, which I ended up not using. You'll see. If I was going second, I probably would, but I won the lieutenant role, chose to go first, so I'm obviously deploying first. My Renegade gets super jump and 8-4 move, and my classified is Sabotage, which Sheshkin's my best bet because she has decharges and she's in a position to do it. When we get to the map, I'll show you where the target is. So here's my deployment. Sheshkin up here in the corner. She's like at the edge of my deployment. She's prone. She's fairly well protected there. Remember, I'm going first. And she's a little harder than people might think. I'm looking at a 1 wound model to kill, so I'm not worried about her being up there. My 2 R drones set up. Quickly realized that was a little bit of a mistake because the R drone is there to provide repeater coverage and be able to drop sniffers. And so if both R drones are right next to each other, it kind of defeats the purpose of having 2. They do good things being apart. Slave drone over here. Icadron back here, watching the back flanks. my other side, the other corner, the Q drone is here. This is HMG. My HVT is back here hiding out. This is my Xenotech down here. Again, another deployment mistake. And anyone who's read the mission closely, and closer than I did, obviously would see that. You get an extra point for planting the multi-tracker in the exclusion zone, which issued the saturation zone, which is way up here, right? The Xenotech is attached to the Kurgat right here, and so could have been up here just fine, right? It doesn't interfere with that. Maybe even attached to KISS, that might even have been better, but it's not, it's down there. This little blue dot you see here is a repeater left behind by KISS, just in case all the repeaters run away and I still want to upgrade the T drone back here, which is the sniper drone. And underneath my video is the M drone, who's basically hiding over there in order to probably satlock something later on. That's all he does. And the E drone is in there somewhere too. All right. Yeah, there's the E drone, basically right across or behind the M drone. And then we have the other Icadron, Bit, and KISS, and my two Imatron. One Imatron, one's on the other side of the board there. All right, this is my opponent's deployment. Over here we've got CSU, CSU, Blackfriar. He has the Xenotech, who's over here somewhere. We've got a Fugazi right here. Fugazi, Sierra, which is his reserve. I didn't know he could have two Sierras, but he does. He has two. This is his HVT there. This is more of his center line. This is once we're completed deployment. You can see my impersonator here, who was my reserve. Where she is, nobody can see her, even the second Sierra that went down, which was his reserve. And this is his first Sierra right here, which is the reason she's there. The edge of his deployment zone is right here, so she does not have to roll. She can just sit there. We have a 5-man Fugazi link over here. I got a couple of times confused about which models were which, because all these guys look the same to me. But then we've got a Fusilier missile launcher, Fusilier HMG, Auxilia, which I kept thinking was one of the Fusiliers. This might also be a Fusilier, or maybe it's a Tech B. Right. Another Fusilier. There's a whole bunch of them down here. This is the Oxbot attached to the Auxilia, and there's a Fugazi here, and Ada Swanson is right there. Okay. Yeah, there's another look at the sort of central zone. You can still see the same things there. This is the console on his side that I'll be eventually trying to get to. And there's his reserve again. Okay, starting my first turn. The Krakot runs impetuously up to about here where he sits. There's no good thing to do after that. If he goes to the top of this, he gets hit by, quite a few things. So he just sits right there. The Speculo moves in on the Sierra total reaction bot there. My opponent asks me if I have any vision modifiers. I say no, and then he decides to shoot. And then I realize what he's actually asking is, can I get -12 on him? And so I remind him that I do have martial arts level 3, which can then give him the extra -3, with the surprise and the bad range for his HMG. He'd be -12 and wouldn't be able to hit. So he chooses to dodge. So then I choose to boarding shotgun. I like the 2 dice better, make him make 2 saves as opposed to 1 against the monofilament, unless I crit, and I don't tend to crit, so I just do the boarding shotgun. It puts him unconscious, it's fine. Here we've jumped up just a moment. Go back, actually. The impersonator then scoots over to the edge. No, she doesn't, actually. This other one does happen first. Okay, so this Auxilia here is targeted. That's what this marker is representing. And what happened was I moved up Bit and KISS a little bit, kind of cautiously, and then fired a repeater down over here. My intent was to exile this model, who I thought was a Fusilier as part of the Link team. When my opponent then points out that it's not a Fusilier part of the Link team, it's an Auxilia, I decide then to spotlight. And I do spotlight it, and then I hit it with a guided missile. He dodges, but the Fusilier that was standing right here, who happened to be the Link leader, fails to dodge and is killed by the guided missile. Then allowing, now the Link is broken, the impersonator to scoot forward and shoot the missile launcher Fusilier, who's right over here. I shoot him twice with the shotgun, and he makes both saves. I've scooted forward and back, so I'm not in danger, but I didn't kill him. And here you can see the repeater down that did that. And the Auxilia has dodged successfully forward to here against, I believe, the second missile that eventually landed there, but the repeater's still there. And here we can see Bit and KISS have moved up, Here is Kiss, kind of snug into his zone right there, and Bit hiding behind this over here. They've moved up to threaten this objective and get some good arrows out of Bit here. You can barely see a little blue marker right there, which is a immobilized marker on a Palbot. It was headed up to the top to try to fix the Sierra and got glued in place. And the Auxilia ran out here, again trying to get into a firefight with Bit and got glued in place. Eventually this Fugazi gets glued in place as well. Bit is on a roll, just gluing everything down. And now my Shrouded kicks into action. I'm really expecting a killer hacker right around here, or something like that, because they got a repeater down on his side of the board. It could be right next to it. So the Shrouded pops up, touches the objective, pops back. Nothing happens. So then this happened when I got the spotlight off to guide those missiles. And then I come back to him to actually get the objective. He moves forward, hits the objective, goes back over there, goes back into camo, so he can be safe. I go over into the Neoterran turn 1. The Blackfire activates, runs up here. This is a prone marker for him, so nothing's happened to him yet. The Xenotech runs forward, plants the scanner with no problems. He then leaves a drop bear and starts to move up on my right flank, his left flank. Possible real threat here because he has a multi-rifle with shock rounds. He could kill Sheshkin, he could kill the Shrouded. He does have to get through a couple of Fugazis, excuse me, my Fugazis, which are our drones, as well as the Shrouded, who's fairly deadly. So he's moving around up here. His Xenotech runs forward to be in the saturation zone to drop it. That's all that's happening there. Over to my left flank. This Auxilia, before being glued down, obviously, moves up and shoots Bit and Kiss. This picture's out of order, but that's what's happening here. Then they get glued down. Yeah, they move up and then they get glued down there. And at the same time, the Oxbot gets blacked out, gets disabled by a blackout for the comms equipment on the Auxilia, again through the Shrouded, which reveals the Shrouded, because now I'm in ARO. There's the slave drone who's been glued down, excuse me, Palbot. So yeah, that revealed my Shrouded over here in ARO, possibly a mistake on my part. The Blackfire comes around to get into a firefight with the Shrouded, and the Shrouded crits him with the combi rifle, put it in the Blackfire down, hence the unconscious over there. Then the killer hacker does show up. It's a Hexa killer hacker. It runs forward this way, obviously in camo, gets to right here, goes prone, and surprise hacks the Shrouded, rolls very poorly, and gets immobilized. With this blue marker here, he's been immobilized by carbonite. So the Shrouded is still safe right there. His engineer moves up onto the platform just to get closer to the drones in case they need repair. And I think that was pretty much it for his turn 1. Yeah, it flips over to my turn, where I power up the Q drone with assisted fire, and then it runs into the midfield and gets in a firefight with a couple of guys. And then I begin my complete disregard for flash pulses, which you'll see takes place over the course of the whole day, and he gets stunned right out here in the middle and just ends up sitting there. They're kind of blurry picture, but that's a stun marker there. So Q-Drone's just kind of sitting there. But Bit and Kiss are active, and they decide to get an objective and move around. Which I guess happens next. First here, my R drone zips up, drops a sniffer. Through the sniffer, I spotlight, I think actually sat lock. Yeah, I sat lock because I don't want to get killed by the killer hacker. So I use the M drone to sat lock through the sniffer. And then I fire a guided missile, which kills the Hexa quickly, claiming the first kill for the T drone for the day. And there's the mine next to him. I think the mine actually survived the attack. Okay, back to my left flank. Bit and Kiss move over, fail to get the objective. I think they did fail to get the objective. Kiss gets into a little better position. Bit gets a little more protected over there. That's her blind marker because she got flash pulsed as well. This is the Shrouded now back in action. He runs up, and he's actually going to get the enemy Xenotech. Mine's far away, and I want to bring the Shrouded up to get this one, so I do that. Moves up, syncs with the Xenotech, moves back, gets blinded again by a Fugazi over in that direction that I'm ignoring. Doesn't matter that the Shrouded is blind, the Xenotech still plants the multi-scanner for me. Pretty sure that's legal. We all agreed it was, so that's how we played it. If there's any indication that you can't steal the enemy Xenotech and then use it, well, let me know. I'd like to know that. And then I put her up on this box just in case I can get an alert or something like that out of her. Otherwise, She's done her job. I'm not going to do anything else for the rest of the game. This is where my opponent brings on his Garuda. He jumps right next to the T-drone, trying to get too close that I can't use the missile launcher. And at that point, I can still see him with an M-drone and a Icadron, but I counter-hack him, and I crit. This is my roll. -6, whips of 13, so he gets counter-hacked. He passes the roll, but he scatters. Scatters off the board, back to his side of the board, which we'll see coming up. Here's my R-drone. Here's the Garuda, who comes in on that side of the board and just starts walking up this way. He eventually gets in a firefight with this R-drone and gets flash pulsed. A lot of flash pulsing going on in this game. This is as far up as he gets. This is the enemy console. The Garuda gets flash pulsed somewhere around here and ends his turn there. So the Fusiliers repositioning a little bit. I don't remember them doing anything specific here except repositioning. Somebody finally takes out Bit. I think it was Ada Swanson. She moves forward, fires at him with the submachine guns, and ends up planting a couple of viral mines, like here, and maybe one more back there, which take into effect next turn. All right, the Impersonator decides to finally finish off the Fusilier missile launcher. She moves up, shotguns him, and does kill him, or at least put him unconscious. And then my Q-drone, who survived the turn stunned, gets repowered back up, zips to the middle of the board. Before this, the Krakot jumped over those crates he was on, landing right behind Ada Swanson. He took like 3 AROs from the fire team, so 6 AROs, right, 2 each, and was completely destroyed. He used his chest mine on Ada in the back, and she passed her dodge, and nothing happened there. So then the Q-drone had to do it. He runs up over here, guns down Ada, guns down. Something else was shooting. Probably the flash pulse was shooting at him. He shoots it down this time. And he's moving in on the enemy console. Over on this side of the board, Sheshkin over here. She pops up to get arrows in the final turn. I think she shoots a Fugazi and destroys it too while she's doing that. She's got her Red Fury, so she's in good range. All right, and then the Q-drone is upgraded. This is my upgrade marker. It goes with him eventually. Zips over to the enemy objective, kills the Garuda who's over there, and is now touching it and getting ready to pass the last turn. So the last thing I do, here's the view from the other side, but last thing I do is put the Q-drone in suppressive fire. Because a lot of this firefight is going to be happening within 16 inches, so I will have no minuses, and I wouldn't have any bonus anyway if I stayed with the HMG. I do lose a die, going down to burst 3, but I add another -3 to my opponent for being in suppressive fire. I'm explaining because people always think I'm being silly when I put my Q-drone total reaction bot into suppressive fire. And the third minus is much more effective than the first minus, correct? So I'm -3 for mimetism, cover, and now suppressive fire. And that makes him pretty hard to crack if you're attacking him through cover, which actually is not what happens. You can see I'm only getting cover from the objective here, not touching this wall, there's nothing over here, and some Fusiliers run up on the Q-drone's left over here. However, they don't survive that. With the minuses and the Q-drone shooting back, he kills like 3 Fusiliers in a row, and then the engineer pops up on the other side trying to do it also. And they all just die. So, end of the first game. Full points for the combined army. Slightly over on surviving points due to baggage. And the NCA got their multi-tracker down, and that was the only objective they got. The surviving points is a little misleading, as it often is. Remember I said at the end he threw like 3 Fusiliers and a machinist all into the Q-drone. Like, even if he had killed the Q-drone, I would have lost a couple of objective points here, and he would have gained 1 or 2. I think it's 1 each. So it would have been like 9-1. But he still would have had about 100 points surviving. So it wasn't swingy really what was going on right there. And if he had just done nothing, he would have had more like 100 points left of the game. Okay, moving into game 2, which is Frostbite. Frostbite is a pretty exciting mission, I think. Lots of things die in this one due to the Frostbite where everyone dies at the end. You can see the objective points right here. Killing the data tracker is really important in this one. Not only is it 2 points, but the data tracker is the only one who can secure the central zone, which is 3 points. So, very important there. The heating units are a little confusing in this mission. The way I understand, the way we've played, once you hit a button and choose which heating unit you turn on, that heating unit is on forever. It can't be destroyed, but it's on forever. and the button is only connected to that heating unit, so it cannot be used by either player to activate a different heating unit. The other player can, however, hit the button, changing who has activated the heater. For the purpose of the third objective here, where it says have at least one active heating unit, that's the only way I can interpret that, because it doesn't say on your side of the board or anything like that. So if you've turned one on, you get one. That's how I understand it. That's how we played it in this. Here's my second opponent, Barakil. Hope I'm pronouncing his ITS handle correctly. He is a wonderful player, and I enjoy every game I have with him. Here is his army list. Of course, I don't know the hidden parts at the beginning of the game. Hidden part in this one being Dart. Obviously, there's a camo token out there, and I'm eyeing it all game, wondering what it's going to do. Eventually, it becomes Dart, and it's terrifying. The Naga hacker, I also don't know what it is until I reveal it. It's another camo marker up there. We'll go right into it. So I won the lieutenant role. I chose to go first. That makes me deploy first. My Krakot gets dogged and total immunity. Doesn't help him at all this game, but that is what he gets. And my classified is telemetry. The classified I love with this list, because between my SATLOC and my sniffers and my R drones and my repeater coverage and my hacking device, forward observing an opponent isn't that difficult. I usually want to be doing it to get some guided missile kills or something. All right, here is the board. I'll hide myself for a moment. And then we'll see the board from the other direction. And I'll hide myself again. What we're looking at now ends up being where my opponent deploys. And the way we played this game, there's a lot of variance on this table, or there can be. We played the cherry blossoms as nothing. They don't exist. The planters they're in are solid scenery objects. You can cover from them, block line of fire, or whatever. And the corner buildings, the one right behind my picture, this one right here, has a wonderful interior, as does this one here. It's a little bit awkward to get to them, so we decided not to play them. The building over here has a very easy to get to interior. The whole roof comes off. It's really easy to get to. So we went ahead and used that one. And we play all this kind of stuff as solid so that you can hide behind that kind of thing. All right, let's move on. We move right to the end of my deployment. We have the Q drone, this HMG. You can't quite deploy far enough up to be in cover behind this box, but I don't think that's important because really nothing can see over here. We've got a bunch of his support staff, right? Icadron, Slave Drone, T-Drone, again, that's the guided missile. Imatron, both Imatrons scattered and ended up like in perfect places, so it wasn't a big deal. Here's the same view of the same guys. Yeah, and there's the Group 2's R drone over there. In the center of the board, that's that R drone we just saw here. Then we have the M drone and Sheshkin, who's also the data tracker and is prone here. And then on my far left flank, I'll move this over here so you can see the Krakot Renegade, who's up there. And we've got the other Icadron, Bit, Kiss, Kurgat, and inside the room here is the other R drone and then the E drone back over here. The impersonator, you'll see momentarily on his side of the board when we get there. So this is his deployment. Tick Belong on the side of a building. It's got climbing plus. I thought this was a great idea. It never really occurred to me until I saw him do this. He's doing it partially because my Krakot is on that side of the board. He doesn't want me to get into hand-to-hand combat with it. That would be absolutely terrifying for him. The Krakot could definitely tear the Tick Belong in half. Tick Belong is also going to be his data tracker when we get to that point. We have in front of this building a camo token, which ends up being Dart. Another camo token, which is a mine from this regular mine layer here. Then we have Fugazi, Palbot for his engineer, regular, a normal Occentensimento regular, another one. There's a sniper on top of the building. On the other side of this building, the smaller building, there's another sniper. They're both sappers, remember? And then there's a bunch more regulars. Link team up here right now includes both the snipers and a couple other guys here. And then here's the view of the sniper on top of the building, and you can see it's got a great position. It's S3 when it's in its foxhole, so it's tall enough to see over all this stuff. And you can see, boom, right to that R drone, boom, right to Kiss right there. Yeah. You can see the top of this building's off right now, so we can move guys around inside. And there's the camo token down there, which ends up being Dart, as we said earlier. All right, this is the other side of his board. We got more Fugazis. This is the engineer right here. There's a camo token right here, which is the Naga killer hacker. And here you can see the prone token for my impersonator, which is right in there. All right, moving into the game. Krakow runs forward. I ignore like 3 or 4 flash pulsers and run across the board. Finally get blinded by the very last one. They're shooting all the way across the board at me, so they're at minuses, and I make like 2 BTS saves. But he does get blinded before he gets to run in there and do anything. So the Shrouded then moves up. He's in the same combat group, so he's using any orders that the Krakow didn't waste getting blinded. Comes up to the middle, gets the first objective right here, and I activate the heater in my deployment zone. Shrouded then lays a mine over here to protect this area and tucks himself in the corner, going back into camo. Q-Drone gets upgraded, runs to the middle of the board. Don't really want to get in a firefight with the Link team because they're still full Link, and when they're in their foxhole, they have mimetism, which effectively negates my mimetism. So I just sit right here, waiting to give some arrows on his turn. Maybe waste some orders, maybe even lose some wounds or guys to that. There's his HVT, which is just on the other side of the building where the Q-Drone is hiding. All right. Guess I didn't get any pictures of the impersonator attack. The impersonator did well. She moved forward, fired her shotgun, killed 2 Fugazis, and then discovered and killed the Naga that was there. I guess put him unconscious, and then just moved back and hit. Didn't go back into impersonation, but just moved out of line of fire of everything over there. So this is on to my opponent's first turn. Tick belongs, using data tracker order, crawls down the building, using normal orders, walks over here to the edge of the board where he can get as far away as he can and still shoot down here to the Renegade. He hits me twice, and the Renegade makes both saves and kind of backs off a little bit. He then moves up and kills the Renegade with the second batch of HMG fire. That's about the best I can hope for to survive that once, so I'm not too worried about it. The sniper then opens up, it kills the R-drone. Takes a couple of shots before it kills Kiss, but it does. It ends up killing both those. I think there's a picture in a minute. You'll see more unconscious markers over there. I do have an engineer around the corner, so if I can ever clear the sniper, I can go in here and fix these guys. Here's the Q-Drone. Am I blocking this? Yeah. Tick Belong comes out here, gets in a firefight with the Q-Drone. Not great numbers, really, for either one of us. I have mimetism and cover, so he's going to be +3 to -6, putting him on 12s, right? So the skill 15. I'm going to be +3 for range, ignoring his cover because I'm upgraded, but he's also got mimetism. So I'm on 11s. I fortunately crit the Tick in the first shot. He takes a wound, and then he fires back and puts the Q-Drone unconscious. Again, that's really the best I can expect on that. All right, so we've jumped ahead here. Again, I'm in a tournament. I'm playing kind of intensely, so I don't take as many pictures as I'd like. The Tick belongs on his turn. Remember, he was right here, fighting the Q-Drone. So then it moves back over here and jumps onto the wall, kind of like this. Again, trying to protect himself from any possibility of close combat or anything going on over there. When he did that, my eyes went wide, I'm sure. I tried not to show it, but that was obviously a mistake. And my opponent passes the turn, and so the first thing I do, which you'll see the repeater in a moment, but Bit fires a repeater. It lands that way, clearly within 8 of the Tick. And then the Assault Hacker Shrouded pops out of camo, so it gets a surprise hack and possesses the Tick. Works on the first attempt, which I was pretty surprised by. Usually it takes me 4 or 5 attempts to do that. But it works on the first attempt, which leaves a bunch of orders for the Tick, who then runs down the wall here, takes mines from both sides. Obviously, I don't even care about them. Like, yeah, maybe I'll save. Maybe I won't save. Take some wounds. It'd be great. I shoot, put the Fugazi over here unconscious, kill at least one of the regulars, and then run up to the top of the building. Again, climbing plus, right? To the top of the building, where I kill the sniper, kill another regular who's over there, and then jump off the building. I jump at an angle straight up, starting from here. So I'm, again, climbing plus out the side like such. And I get to just over 12 inches above the ground before I fall. So at 12.001 or more inches, it's damage 30. And falling damage is treated as fire. So the Tick falls to the ground, takes infinite wounds, and is removed. I use a lot of my orders doing that. So after that, Sheshkin moves up using data tracker, using lieutenant, using all the orders, runs over and fails 3 times to get this objective. So then the Shrouded, with what orders he has left, comes around the corner here, fails to get the objective, runs over here. I think I tried twice, failing both times, which is why I don't have a chance to go back into camo with the Shrouded. Again, probably a mistake. The last attempt, I should have just let it go to the last turn. But my opponent's down a lot of models, including his tick belong, his tag, and may even be in retreat. So that's why I spent all my order doing that. I wasn't sure if he was going to be in retreat or not. As it turned out, he was not. I think we'll go over here. His camo token runs around the corner here. He's telling me he's not in retreat, so that camo token's got to be fairly expensive because he's only got a few regulars left. Here's the repeater that Bit had fired out there. The camo token runs out here across the way, gets spotted by the impersonator who's over in that direction. That's when I find out it's Dart, and that's when I realize my opponent's still in the game. He can still come around the corner here with his SMG. He could kill Sheshkin in one shot, who's my data tracker. Now I can't claim the middle, he can't claim the middle, and while I still have a lot of orders left, he can still destroy anybody who's coming out of my deployment zone, basically. So I think here we are actually at the end of the game. Yes. What happens is Dart does attack Sheshkin, only has enough orders to do it once, and I dodge away. And then it comes over to my turn, and I have to kill Dart now, because I can't give him a whole nother turn. He's close enough that he can just come over and spend the whole turn SMGing Sheshkin, and I really don't want that to happen. So I try the easy way first, and I run up this R-drone into the middle of the board. I throw down a sniffer. I sat-lock Dart, it works just fine. There's only one order left in group 2 after the time all that's done. I fire a guided missile, and Dart crit dodges it. So my rule is not relevant. Even if I hit, it doesn't do anything. However, Dart is targeted, so we have better shots on her now. Bit moves up, shoots at Dart a number of times. I don't know if I have a picture of that. She runs up to try to get this objective over here. And as she's doing that, she sprays SMG fire into Dart, eventually landing a wound. I'm using shock rounds because I don't know that Dart has bioimmunity it is. So she takes a wound. Bit fails to get this objective with, again, I think like 3 tries. She fails to get that objective each time. And then the impersonator moves up. I could just go attack Dart with Sheshkin. I've got plenty of orders. I can walk around this corner, not use stealth, trigger an ARO, and then walk around the corner again and be in close combat. And then I can engage close combat with my Protheon 1, giving me a total score of 27 in close combat. I don't want to do this because it's risky. If Dart crits, I just die. She got a shot close combat weapon, and Sheshkin would just be straight out dead. Being my data tracker, that would lose me 5 objective points. So I'm quite happy spending all my orders doing other things. If it comes down to it and I just cannot kill Dart, I will then, with my last 2 orders, send in Sheshkin and try and Protheon her. Fortunately, it doesn't come to that, and the impersonator just ends up shotgunning a few times and doing Dart's final wound. However, I'm out of orders, I can't hit any more buttons, and everybody outside of my deployment zone dies, except for Sheshkin, because she's the data tracker and gets a fur coat. So, final score of this game, 10 points for the combined army, 171 surviving after a bunch of guys die in the frostbite. Again, the surviving point's not completely indicative of what happened, because all of his guys die at the end because he hasn't turned on any heaters. So I didn't actually kill everything, it's just the frostbite giving the final score of 0 there. And my opponent was not able to get forward to get any of the objectives. One possibility my opponent had was back when the tick was running around. Let me jump back to that just momentarily. So when my tick ran around right here, Dart was here as a camo marker. He could have engaged. And that, while risky, if it had worked, may have saved his entire game plan. Because the tick is not great in close combat, and I can spend all my orders fighting Dart and not kill her, and then he gets the tick back at the beginning of his turn. If he fails the engage, it's terrible and he dies. But if he makes it, and it was pretty clear to me that once I had a good 6-7 orders into his tick belong in this situation, that was going to be the end of the game. I mean, I killed a lot of his guys and then killed the tick too. So I thought the engage there, had I known it was Dart, I would have been worried about it. I guess I assumed it was a Naga. But even if it was Naga, the engage probably would have been a good move, just to hold the tick down for a turn, the necessary turn. Okay, so 2 majors, moving into game 3. Oh, and then this guy showed up. After that game, it was necessary. All right. Game 3 is Firefight, one of these very killy missions that usually ends up not very killy, at least in my experience. It's too deadly to go do things. So you really want to hide, you want to attack with like cheap models that can trade up and just not expose things that are in danger, or things that are valuable to actual danger. There are panoplies. The panoplies try to get you to come forward to get a couple extra points, but that's only worth like 1. The data tracker is only 1, and it's just someone else you want to hide. So there ends up being a lot of hiding in this mission, I find. And they try to discourage that with designated landing area, right? So you get even better chance to drop in, but no one drops in anyway. Everyone walks in anyway. Even with the new rules, people think it's too risky. So here's my third opponent, F Chaos. He's actually one of my regular opponents in Santa Cruz. He's also one of my favorite opponents. He's a very astute player and one of the most friendly players, whether winning or losing, that I've ever played against. All right, here is his list. More Aleph. I guess I say more Aleph because there was 1 Aleph last game. Okay, here's his list. He again has a Garuda. You can see the other things in there. He's running OSS, right? So the most interesting thing, or individual thing, is the Shukra. I really like the Shukra. I think it's a great unit. Apparently he does too. It's got visors, it's got multi-rifle, it's got Strategos. It's obviously the Lieutenant, which is a little bit of a problem in this mission because killing the Lieutenant is worth a couple victory points. All right, we'll move on. I lose the Lieutenant role, and my opponent chooses to go first, which makes sense in this mission. Clearly, I make him deploy first, and my Renegade gets the +3 physical and regeneration. This is actually my favorite result for his role. The +3 physical means he's dodging very well. The regeneration, he might just go down, then pop back up on the enemy's turn, do it all again. Yeah. My classifieds are capture and mapping. Spoiler, I don't even try. I mean, these are the objectives. Possibly, because I'm going second, my impersonator could do capture. Right? She can walk over there. No one can really do anything to her. If there's someone already unconscious somewhere, she can get to it and just stand by it and gain the objective. Mapping, I'm like, maybe Bit and Kiss will move forward enough to do it. Maybe my M drone will move forward. And then I realized that it's enemy deployment zone. And I'm just like, that's just not going to happen. In this mission, there's no way I'm running all the way over there. So I don't even try. Maybe I'll get the HVT, maybe I won't. But these are, yeah, I'm not worried about them. Okay, so here we are, my deployment. This is before my reserve. And remember that I did deploy second. So we've got T drone, E drone, Kuryat engineer. He's up there because I'm thinking about putting the Q drone here, which I end up doing. You'll see in a moment, but that's why the engineer's up here. We have an R drone. Remember, you want to expose cheap things. So the R drone 8-point bot, sure, he can be exposed. Engineer nearby, great. Bit is right there. She's prone. Imatron, Kiss is out there. Icadron out there. Moving across to the center, we've got the slave drone, the M drone. That's the sensor package drone. And you can see they're all kind of facing backwards, a lot of these guys are, because you can walk on your combat jumpers anywhere in this mission, and I don't really want a Garuda showing up anywhere. On my right flank, I've got another R drone who's fairly exposed, and then my Icadron and my Imatron. When I went to do my reserve, I really wished I could have put it right here where this R drone is, but I didn't shed space for him, so there he is. And my impersonator, who is just in this building prone, planning on not doing anything unless the opportunity comes up at the end to go get that classified. On the top of this building is my Shrouded, who you'll probably see in a moment, and my HVT, who's kind of in the center of the game there. And here's my opponent's deployment. On his right flank, which is my left flank, we've got a link of Dakinis. Atlanta here is proxying for a Dakini sniper, and this is a CSU who's part of it. Don't remember what she rolled. I guess it didn't come up in the game also. We've got the Shukra Lieutenant here, and my opponent's TR bot right here. When my opponent gets to do his reserve, it's the proxy, which are 3 of them. You get the engineer over here backing up the link. We've got the 10-point forward deployment 2 submachine gun EM grenade thing right there. And then his HVT right there. And my Q drone goes down kind of where I expected it to, right next to the Kurgat. All right. I have 2 command tokens left. That's what I'm taking this picture to remind myself. One, because I stripped 2 orders out of his smaller group, which are the Divas and the Shudra. Because the Diva is a pretty powerful link, which is on my right flank, where I don't have a lot really to oppose them. So I don't mind if his big link has a bunch of orders. I'm not really sure what they're going to do with it, but I don't want those Divas running around with their Spitfire doing as much as they want. And the second command token is because I overclock my drones, which I think is the next one. Yes, overclock, giving all of my repeater bots burst 2 in the ARO, which is great with the R drones and the Echidrons, and Kiss with his adhesive launcher. So my opponent starts out by bringing up the 10-point proxy. It moves up along here, scoots up along here. It doesn't want to get seen by the Q drone, which it will if it moves past this building, but not really anything else is seeing it right there. So he sneaks up and throws an EM grenade, speculative fire, onto Bit and the net rod, which you'll see right here. Bit passes her BTS save against it. The net rod gets isolated, and then I remember that the net rod is not a trooper. The net rod is equipment. We're not sure if it can be isolated or not. There's a lot of weird things with net rods because they're not troopers. I guess I think they should just be troopers who can't receive orders. That would just make everything simpler about them. But as we asked the TO, their equipment, can they be isolated? And the answer was no. So then we took that off and he was no longer isolated. All right, on my right flank, the Divas have run up. They have shot this R drone and put him unconscious. Moved up to right here where he had line of fire to the Krakot and to the M drone down here. And this is the Spitfire. Spitfire gets blinded by the M drone. Remember, it's burst 2 in the arrow here. And the Krakot dodges or makes a save. And nothing else really happens there. And then they run out of orders. And she's kind of in the open, I think like right here at the end of that. Maybe even where she is right now. They just kind of run out of orders in the open there. Yeah, there she is. There's the M drone down there. Flash pulsed up and got her. There's a very blurry picture of where she ended up, which is right behind that there, still kind of in the open. All right, so we go to my first turn. First thing that happens is the Krakot runs around the corner. His impetuous move actually brings him back here, not into line of fire of anybody, with his first move. And that triggers arrows from the Divas who do nothing, because nothing really is going to matter. And then I run around the corner, again, paying no attention to a flash pulse, comes from a war core down here. And my opponent's like, you don't have to move there. You can just, no, I'm fine. I run around. I fail the BTS save. He flash pulses me and I'm blinded. Kind of annoying because I was going to move up and chain rifle, or excuse me, chest mine all these guys. It would have been great. But maybe someday I will develop respect for the flash pulse and stop running into it. Yeah, so there he is, blinded, and he guts slightly that way to be out of line of fire of the flash pulsar then. So now the M drone, this marker here is marking the M drone being upgraded to Marksman 2. First thing it does is shift to my left, where it can see the proxy and gun it down with a shock combi rifle, because it's got Marksman 2. Then it comes back to the right, pretty much to where it started. Oh, no, it has to move up here in order to get line of fire to that Diva that was there, and kills her with a shock round as well. And then it slides back over to here. Okay, I missed some pictures here, so here's a few things that happened as we get to the next slide. Bit stands up right in front of a flash pulse again, ignores it, fires off a pitcher. Pitcher lands, she gets blinded and goes prone, and then through the pitcher, I exile the CSU, so I break the link of the Dakinis. Yeah, I break the link of the Dakinis by exiling the CSU. So the Kurgat moves around a little bit, his slave drone runs up and goes to the panoply and pulls out a multi-rifle, which is strangely dangerous on a mimetism bot in the middle of the board. All right, then the Q drone, he gets upgraded now, it gets moved over from the M drone. It runs up over here and now gets into a favorable firefight with the Dakini sniper, who's now out of the link. First, I think I get in a firefight with the enemy total reaction bot, I put that unconscious, ignoring the Yud bot next to it, which ends up being a mistake, you'll see in a moment, and then shooting at the Dakini and putting it unconscious. It can't go prone, it's a drone, same with the other one. I really should have spent an order finishing these off. It didn't occur to me at all, but it's an objective point, or excuse me, a kill point mission, right? You want to kill more army points. And he's able to heal both these next turn because A, I don't kill the Yud bot, and his proxy engineer is right there. So all these kill points I'm getting, I'm actually not getting any points for later on. And then the T-drone repositions a little bit. I just want to give him a better better position than I like, and I got a couple orders to do it with. He gets blinded by the war core as well. I think I actually did shoot back this time with this flashball. Shot with a missile and just missed. All right. Here's the slave drone who runs up into the middle panoply and grabs himself a multi-rifle and then slinks back around this corner over here. He's supposed to skill 8, I believe, so within range he can be an 11, right? All right, here are it's the beginning of the enemy turn, and the other divas are right here. This diva pops around the corner, and I chest mine it. Chest mine's got shock, which would be great against a diva. She, however, makes her armor save, shoots her combo rifle, and does 2 wounds to immediately killing the renegade. All right, so my opponent then sneaks up with the third proxy, which is the TO Camo Assault Hacker Boarding Shotgun. She gets to here as a camo token, obviously, and we all hold, and then she shotguns into the Q drone, who decides to try a dodge, otherwise he just misses, and obviously fails, goes unconscious too. But the Shrouded, who's on top of this building, of course we measured it, is within 8 and 8, and he oblivions and isolates the proxy, which means he can't do anything now except attempt to dodge. And that's it, it can't be activated again. There's the Shrouded on top, you see, and you can see over here the TR bot's been brought back, the isolated CSU, and the sniper, which has been brought back. The sniper activates and finishes off my Q drone with a couple of double action rounds. Okay, comes back to my turn, and the game has gone kind of long. Looks like we're not going to get another turn, so I decide to go for my winning ploy right here. Bit stands up, again gets flash pulsed, but again lands a pitcher. The pitcher is right here, which you'll see in a moment. This is relevant because within hacking distance is the enemy lieutenant. Remember, the lieutenant is a little bit of an obvious lieutenant because of the strategos. So my Shrouded, who I've moved into group 1 to give him a bunch of orders, just in case, he spotlights, which is a whip -3 hacking program that puts you into the targeted state, right? Well, he fails the first 6 attempts. He doesn't lose the face taste roll, he just straight up fails the first 6 attempts. On the 7th one, the Shrouded crits, putting the Shukra into the targeted state, and the first guided missile kills it. And that pretty much ends the game. There's not really much else to do. That was the end of my turn 2. Time was called in the round, and it wasn't super strict, but time was called, so we decided not to really do anything in turn 3. My opponent wouldn't have been able to do anything, or wouldn't be able to do very much. He was in the loss of lieutenant, and then it would have gone over to me, and I would have mentally calculated and thought I was up on victory points and kill points, and just done nothing, and the game would have ended. As it turned out, the kill points were very close, but I was up, and I had for bonus for killing the lieutenant as well. There's a picture where you can see the repeater right there, the blue repeater at the bottom of the screen. So, final game, 6 for the Combined Army, 1 to OSS, also being a major victory, so 5 victory point spread. And you can see the surviving victory points. I've got 2 baggage bots in mine, so you see that's an additional 40 points. So the victory points are actually a lot closer than they seem there. But yeah, that was the tournament. It was a great experience, 3 great games, and yeah, I enjoy all 3 of those opponents. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.